to another episode of the Total R&B podcast. My name is Larina, and today's episode we have a singer, a songwriter, a producer, and an activist who is one half of the R&B duo Trippy, and her latest album is out now called Dichotomy. So definitely go and get that, stream it, run up the numbers, buy it, tell a friend to tell a friend. So welcome to the podcast, Phoenix Pagliacci.
Thank you so much, Lorena. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I want to say right off the bat, I got to listen to the full album. I'm still going through the tracks. I'm not one of those people that like listen to it one time and be like, bam, this is, the
Good.
review. I like to take my time with stuff. And because you don't talk about like a bunch of fluff, I find I like to like go through the tracks over and over again because a lot of times you don't always hear everything the first listen.
True.
So, but everything that I hear so far, I love it. Like it's a super dope album. So, thank you for putting it out and putting it all together.
Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm not the type of artist who makes moment projects. Like this is one to sit with, and a lot of people have been saying the same thing, which is great. So I'm glad that I got that right. And thank you so much for taking the time with this because I really took my time making it, and I appreciate you taking your time to listen.
No, of course. So we're definitely going to get more into the album, but I always start off the podcast with the same question all the time. So I want to know from you, when I say this, what is the first thing that comes to mind? So what is your first memory of R&B music?
My first memory of R&B music would be 7 years old in the crib, house party, family's there. Uncle's got the vinyls on, and he puts on Luther Vandross, Never Too Much.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, a lot of people talk about, especially in American culture, the cookout and the
Mhm.
barbecues and like the family events and where you hear most of these R&B classics. But mine was at my birthday party, so I was so honored
Oh,
that they dropped Luther at my party, and just the playlist it went through a lot of Motown through there, and that was my segue into R&B through family functions. So for me, R&B always has this connection to unity and coming together and just sharing emotions and feelings and having a good time.
no, I love that. And I'm glad that they hit you with like the good classic
Yeah,
R&B.
out the gate was like, you're gonna learn today, youngin. Like this is where you're going or where you're coming from. So I'm grateful too.
That's dope. And so for you, how did your journey of singing begin? Like what is like the first point of you beginning to sing?
So around the same age, 6, 7, 8 in that bracket, my family, my mom specifically, shout outs to mom, decided that she wanted to put all the cousins together to make a band.
Okay.
My mom is Jamaican descent, so she's like, this is gonna be a Jamaican folk song band. So she brought all the cousins together, and we all came together to sing these songs that were very reflective of her culture and therefore our culture. And that was my segue into singing.
Okay.
And that was when I really got a chance to share music that wasn't mine immediately, but that I was connected to. So a lot of learning went on in my initial stages of singing.
Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, shout out to your mom for putting that together. That's beautiful that she got the family together so you get to spend time with your family and you're doing something that's pretty amazing to sing those songs. Is that being in that group, did that help you say like this is what I want to do as, my career? Like when I get older, I want to be a singer?
Yeah, I mean, I really was a fan of the stories that were being told. A lot of Jamaican folk songs are stories, and whether they're stories that are metaphors, maybe the lyrics aren't literal, but the meaning is something that is very resonating.
Mhm.
I really liked the way that music could be used to convey messages, and I thought that was just so creative and was like, if somebody could get paid to do this, I feel like I would be the person to do that. And yeah, that was my inspiration for continuing and going on that path of songwriting and singing and performing. And yeah, led me to here eventually.
And also because I did want to tap into your songwriting because you are a songwriter, of course.
Mm.
And so hearing those stories, and even like the Luther Vandross record, like what that feeling evoked for the household when, you know, they heard Never Too Much. Is that something that motivated you to start songwriting so that you can evoke those emotions or speak on different things that you were hearing in the music that you grew up listening to or performing?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I grew up on, Motown, R&B, the classics, you know, Luther, Whitney, Stevie, Michael, the artists that really told stories through their music, that was always inspirational to me because whether or not you were able to sing, whether or not you truly enjoy music, we all enjoy going on a journey through word, and being able to share those journeys or create those journeys for other people, something that I thought was so powerful. Beyond being able to play the instruments and beyond being able to actually, you know, sing and vocalize, the story was what stuck with me. And, you know, sometimes I would even print out lyrics to songs and like read them as poems and be like, wow, this is a very powerful poem on its own, you know. So that was always something that resonated with me and something I wanted to continue to share with others.
That's dope. No, I find it very powerful, like music. So even songwriters, I just think they're amazing. A lot of times they get overlooked
Mm,
because we're looking at the artist itself, but I feel like the songwriters are the ones that are keeping this thing going, you know?
absolutely.
So I find they're a very, very important component to this like music industry. So yeah, I think that's amazing. And so when did it become more real for you, like that this is like I'm making money from doing music? Because a lot of times we can make music, we could do things, but we're not, getting paid for it.
True. So that became probably when I switched from wanting to just do it as a hobby to actually being like, this is my craft. And I hang around, shout out to all my creative friends who really are intentional with their words. Because you would think as a songwriter, I would definitely understand the intentions behind what you say and what you write. But for so many years, I was calling it a hobby, a hobby, a hobby, an interest, a craft, like, instead of being like, this is my passion, this is what I do. And it was probably not until maybe like 5 years ago when I decided, like, I really want to do this full time and I really want to be able to sustain a living um, off of what I love to do. And I started being intentional just with like the way that I said I wanted to do this, you know, being intentional with the idea that this is music. So sorry, I have a cat and she's very,
Okay.
but being very intentional with what I wanted to do and making it known, you know. And so, probably about 5 years ago, when I made that pivot, I started to see things change. You know, I got a team together, I got management, I got, like a booking agency, and we were just going and we were just pushing and being like, hey, I don't see this in your space. I don't see a, black queer female who does R&B hip hop and writes her own stuff in your thing. What are you going to do about it? You know, like, you're going to say you're looking. All right, cool. Here's one right here, handing it to you on a platter, you know? So that was always something that really, when I realized how I have to be intentional if I want to be received as intentional. And that was a big change, a big pivot for me.
Was it a bit of like maybe fear, making that change? Because sometimes that keeps us from changing our wording.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was fear. I mean, being from Toronto, there's no shortage of talent. And so, when one person might say, hey, we're looking for an artist that maybe you don't fit in that box, you ask yourself, okay, does that mean I don't fit in any box? Does that mean there's no box available for me? Does that mean that, I'm doing something I'm not really supposed to do then? Am I in my right area of
Mhm.
artistry? And so all these doubts and worries and concerns flood your mind, and then you feel like maybe you don't have a place at all. And that's when the conversation, the self talk has to come in. And you have to ask yourself, if I really want to be here and I'm told that I don't belong here, is it not my place and time to make my own lane instead of trying to fit in? And so, again, being from such a talented city, you
Mhm.
might feel like there's no space for you. There is space for everyone because there is something for everyone. So once you realize that, you double down on who you are And I think that's a big part of it too, understanding exactly who you are. Yes, you might be able to do all these things, but who are you as an artist and as a person? And once you have that answer, you can go forward and nobody's stopping you.
No, I love that. And I think it's going to help to a lot of artists who are just starting, because a
Mhm.
lot of people go through that of not feeling like they're good enough, or they do feel like, okay, Toronto, there's so many talented people, like where do I fit in?
Yeah.
And also the question of who am I? Because a lot of people get lost in the music industry because they haven't figured out who they are as a person. They're kind of just listening to the people around them and kind of creating this character, but it's not really who they are. So I think those are really important words for people to hear. So thank you for that.
No doubt.
You did talk about your team, having a good team around you. And I know I spoke to some artists, and some people were having trouble like finding good management and different people to be on their team. They kind of like referenced it to dating, finding the right partner.
Speed
Yeah.
dating is definitely a thing. Um, I find that, well, my team, I was fortunate enough, they found me. It was more something that, they were like, I'm interested in you as a person. I'm interested to see what you do. I already like who you are. And I think a lot of times when we start looking for team members, we're not really ready ourselves as artists,
Mhm.
So it's like having to be in a position where somebody can find you. And much like dating, the right person will come along. I remember before I was ready to have a manager, I was like, hey, I need someone to manage me. And the first person who stepped forward was like, okay, what do you want from a manager? And I kind of froze and I was just like, and I need a manager. So without knowing what a manager does or what a manager can do for your career or where you are in your career, why you feel you need a manager, um, you can really get yourself into a situation where you have more on your plate than you really need or know how to do things with. So, just being able to say like, this is what I need as an artist is crucial.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that's a huge part of it. Being ready, and when you're ready, the right person will show up.
So I want to fast forward because I do want to talk about this album. So and Dichotomy, it just came out June 24th. And what I like about it is that there's a lot of collaboration on this album. Some people are scared to do collaborations for a multitude of reasons. But why did you feel it was necessary to collaborate with different artists and different producers on this project?
First and foremost, shout outs to everybody that I collaborated with on this project: producers, writers, performers, rappers, singers, uh, musicians. I thought it was so crucial because we had gone through this dark age of pandemic related suffering collectively. We all experienced shows being canceled. We all experienced the increase in pricing for everything. We all experienced the demise of the artist community here in Toronto as some of our favorite venues closed, some of our favorite rehearsal spaces closed. And so we went through a collective mourning as an artist community in Toronto. And while some of the artists that I work with are not from Toronto proper, I worked with a lot of Canadian artists. And so my family out in Vancouver was feeling it. My family out in Winnipeg was feeling it. Um, and so there was a need to come together as artists and be like, hey, look, we've all gone through this together. Let us talk about how we feel about it, or let us continue to create in ways that show our art is resilient. And there were conversations had with every artist that is on this project. Um, all of the interludes are conversations that I was having with my creative peers about where I was mentally as an artist, just seeing so many artists being brought down. And I thought that it was a pivotal time to really uplift artists. So, you'll hear me talking about things on the interlude where I'm talking about, well, shoot, this artist did this and now they're down here. And like, how do we as artists really continue creating if we are at the mercy of people who don't even know us on a personal level? And so these conversations were had in spaces with artists that I love and admire. And out of those conversations, we were able to make songs and music that we were saying by collaborating together that regardless of who is trying to tear artists down, who is trying to cancel artistry, and who's trying to close artistry and move it out of our city. We're going to come together and we're going to show you cannot kill art, And yeah, it was just so humbling to work with them. I really felt like, especially being my first solo album in 8 years,
Mhm.
there were so many people that I thanked for being the reason that I was still making art. I worked with producers that I've just sat in rooms with and admired. I worked with rappers that I've, put on playlists that have motivated me to go to the gym. Like, artists that I've bought tickets and tickets and tickets to see, no matter where they play or how many times they play the same venue, I'm there. And just for me to turn around and say, hey, I really am a fan of you and I respect your work. I would love to work with you on this album, and hear them say, yeah, that meant the world to me. So I'm so grateful that I can have a body of work where I could say I've worked with peers that I respect, love, and appreciate. And that in turn, by them working with me, they too love, respect, and appreciate me and my artistry. That was just an amazing feeling, that reciprocation. And I felt like it was needed in a time when people are saying that artists need to quote unquote get real jobs, or, art is not something that needs to be funded through public money. And just here to kind of prove all of that wrong, low key.
Definitely. Definitely, and there's power in numbers, and that's something I think I've been saying, like, amongst my, like, small, like, friend groups and stuff, and whether it's within music or outside of music, I think community is such a big thing, especially after the pandemic, because we were all kind of isolated, and I kind of feel like even once things started to open up, we were still kind of, like, just on our own, like, solo. So I think community is very important. And I always say too, I love when artists are collaborating.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is, but I just like seeing people coming together and making music. I feel like, sometimes you make the best music collaborating than just doing stuff on your own as well. Cause I guess there's kind of like a growth that's happening if you're pushing each other, you
Mhm.
know, outside of your comfort zone. So I just thought that was really cool that there were so many people, names that I recognized and didn't recognize, that were on this album. So yeah, I thought it was super dope. And then working with all these different people and having those conversations, like, what did you learn about yourself during this process?
I learned that I get in my head a lot. Like, I don't know if it's an artistry thing. We creatively get in our head, we emotionally, spiritually, all of the ways we get in our head, and we feel like no one else is going through this except for you. But by just talking about it and saying to the next person, hey, I'm going through this thing and I'm going through it alone, and then having that person turn and be like, no, 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 I'm going through this thing and I feel like I'm going through it alone. And then you're like, oh shoot, okay, so if we both going through it alone, then I guess we're not really going through it alone.
Mm,
And then the more people that talk about it, it becomes normalized. A lot of our artist peers suffered mental health crises in the pandemic, in the initial phases. A lot of us were not talking about how this weighed on us mentally, how not being able to see the future of music as a musician, as an artist, was crippling. Like, it was debilitating. It was something that we couldn't, not knowing, going from having shows booked into the next year to having no shows and everything postponed. Postponed became like a trigger word for me, because I was just like, what does that mean? Does that mean it's never happening? Does it mean it's postponed for the next 3 months? And just being able to relate with your peers and be like, hey, if you're feeling this way about this, I'm feeling this way about this, and using words like scared, worried, um, in a safe space with people who get it, it was pivotal, it was crucial. And so I feel like, with all the hurt that we experience as artists, by talking about it, by vocalizing it, coming together and saying, hey, this is not just a you thing, it really helped to open up the perspective and give some semblance of hope to our collective artistic future. So that was really important. And I think a lot of people downplay that. Outside
mm,
of just collaborating with artists musically, we need to talk to each other. We don't know what we're going through, but we know that we're going through it together. So the more that we talk about it is the more we can understand it's not an isolated event. It's not something that you need to feel inside of you as an existential crisis. Baby, this existential crisis is worldwide. We all going through it. So let's talk about it together. And that just made me feel so much better, opening up that part of me to say, I am not alone, and finally say, oh my God, even though my peers on socials, they appear to have it all together, we are all collectively grieving and suffering together. And there's some peace in knowing that our collective peace is disturbed. So finding that was very important for me.
No, that's dope. And do you feel, is there like a way that you're going to keep these conversations going that you've had with the different group that you worked with? Is there a way that you'll maybe expand that or keep it going with the same group? I don't exactly know, but have you thought about that after this whole project has been completed?
Well, I actually have some really amazing peers who have started an artist peer chill group where we just kind of every month get together at someone's place and we vent, or we
Mm.
celebrate, like whatever it is. We just have a safe space where there's snacks, which is crucial. Like, need
Yeah,
the snacks.
you got to eat.
You're right. So there's snacks, and we just talk about how we feel as artists. And there have been two of these sessions in Toronto already, and it's just like a love session. You go
Mhm.
there and it's like you can go in feeling however you feel, and there's space made for your emotions. And then at the end of the snacks, there's maybe, hey, I can put you in touch with this person. Okay, so your bassist wasn't able to do this, I can get you this. There's solutions. So
Mhm.
you come in with all these problems and you leave with all these solutions, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So we have it. It's going on, and I know that you're based in Montreal, but hey, it's just a six hour whip down to Toronto, or 4 hours, 2 hours on the via. Come down. We could all chill together, eat snacks, vent, cry, scream, and then leave with some semblance of hope for the future.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that you guys are doing that. I think that is so important. And even if it's someone that's listening from like, I don't know, Vancouver or Halifax, and you can't get somewhere quickly, like I hope this inspires someone to start their own group,
Yes.
wherever they are, so that artists can have that community and have a safe space to, really vent and tell like what's going on, and then find people that, relate or have gone through this and find solutions, like you said, which is really important
Yes.
too. So that's amazing. And another thing that was talked about too is basically like artist versus artistry.
Mm.
Um, so do you have, I know it probably changes all the time because, experiences happen, things are changing every day, but do you have like a definition of what an artist is or supposed to be?
Oh my gosh. Every day, you're right. Like it's consistently changing. The only thing consistent about the definition is that it changes. And honestly, I don't know, because just because I don't enjoy it or appreciate it doesn't mean it's not art. There's
Mhm.
so many different forms of art, so many different types of art, music and painting, and things that maybe I can't appreciate, but that doesn't make it not art, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and does somebody who's able to replicate this art automatically become an artist?
Mm.
And that just, I can physically feel my brain splitting into trying to answer this question, and I can't. I can't. There's people who have no rhyme or reason as to why they can sing so well, or why they can dance so well or paint so well. And maybe they don't appreciate the art in its form. They're just like, yeah, this is something I'm able to do. My mom put me in gymnastics when I was 6, so now I can, do this.
Mhm.
Do they automatically become an artist because they've displayed art? I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like the definition of artist is created by society. It's by the consumers of the art, the appreciators of the art. It's not for me as an artist, or maybe it is. I don't know. That's a hard question. Who's out here asking these things?
No, but it's true. But that's an answer in itself because I feel like we're so trained to look at like what society has defined as an artist or artistry. And I even look at your album when people put you in a box of an R&B artist or a rapper, but your music is so much more. So you listen to the album and you're hearing different genres of music. You're not hearing just R&B. You're not hearing just rap. You're hearing everything basically that's like mixed in together. And I feel like so many artists, music artists, are going down that lane where they're not just sticking to one genre or what society says is the genre that they're supposed to be in. So yeah, I think there is no right answer. Like there's no definite definition or answer to
Mhm.
that, because I feel like now people are so open and just kind of just doing what they feel.
Yeah, there's a lot of going with the flow per se, and a lot of rebranding. Artists who
Mhm.
have been branded as such and such an artist for how many years are now finding that their sound has changed, their sound has matured, has grown. And it's really some. It's really to say like, how do you say that this person isn't allowed to form these new boundaries or this new definition?
Mhm.
It's like such a simple question in the sense that it's not easily answerable. It's
Yeah.
easy to ask, but how do you really answer it? I don't know. And I think that's part of what I was trying to figure out on this album. I was working with pop producers. I was working with um, you know, 80s funk like producers. I was just like, give me music that sounds great and that I
Yeah.
want to write to. And
Mhm.
what does that mean? Does that mean I'm no longer able to fit into one or two boxes? Um, I really don't know. Like, I'm stuck out here because it really is a definition that you can give to yourself. Anybody can say, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And who's to say that they're not?
Yep.
That's the tricky part. If you have somebody out there who's appreciating your art, does that not make you an artist? You're an
See?
artist to someone.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I get it. It's, I don't know, that like you just think about all these different things. Even listening to the album, you're just thinking about like, not everything is just one way or the other. There's, especially this day and age, like it's a mix of everything. You're kind of just doing what feels right, and like you said, making just good music,
Mhm.
like things that just feel good to you. So that's, yeah, it's something you can't really answer. Or it changes maybe day to day
Yeah.
too. But on this album you released so far some singles. Politics was one, Close to You, as well as Someone's Bouquet, which also has a video that everyone can check out now on YouTube, on your YouTube page. Are there any more singles that you're going to release from the album? Like, are you going to take your time and release more stuff, or what's going to happen when it comes to singles?
So I do have a video that will be coming out
Oh,
for
that's exciting.
bonus track with Shad. So we shot a video for Up.
Okay.
So that's in the works. That'll be coming out. And right now I'm trying to feel out, what people really like. And there may be a visual for one other song that people seem to really gravitate towards, but I'll have to talk to the OBGMs about that and see if that's
Okay.
a song that they want to do a visual for. I just um, yeah, I just want people to really sit with this as they have been. And the feedback's been coming in, and I've just been trying to give the people what they want, see what they, want to do with that. So yeah, we'll see. But at least we got Up coming soon.
Okay.
That's one that I'm very happy happened, and I'm very excited to share the video.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the potential other single that will come out, because that is another dope one that's happening. So I love that. Um, I also want to talk to you about female MCs,
Mhm.
because you're often highlighting female MCs, which I love. So you have your Spotify playlist that people could check out, that has a lot of like Canadian female rappers, non binary is on there as well. You had a performance you did last year with I think it was Manifesto, was it?
Yeah, shout out to Manifesto. It was
Yeah.
Manifesto and CBC's The Block came together to do a block party.
Yes.
That
And
was
so you had other female MCs on that stage with you. And I thought that that was amazing because female rappers are killing it. Like we see a lot in the US, like they're dominating the charts. Last night, the BET Awards, it was all female rappers basically that were performing. Well, female R&B and rappers, but it was just a lot of female rappers that you saw that were performing. So they're doing amazing. I just wanted to know your take on more so Canada. Like, do you feel like the female MCs are receiving that recognition, like how we see in the US right now?
That's a great question. And it's so funny because literally I was just talking to my homegirl, Century Sam. So shout outs to her. She's a dope R&B and hip hop artist from here in Toronto. And, like we've been talking about it for a while, but uh, it seems like people just don't want to have more than one female rapper ever at any time.
Mhm.
And it's so weird because when you ask someone their top five, you're not asking them, like, what are your top five female rappers, or what are your top five, like female chefs, or whatever your
Mhm.
top five is,
Yeah.
so this whole separation is something that a female rapper, a rapper, a favorite rapper of mine spoke about a while back, Jean Grey. Um,
Mhm.
and she was very, very clear on this division that is perpetuated in hip hop music. And I just find it so strange. I mean, we have so many talented female rappers here. We have so many talented artists who are just not afforded those opportunities because somebody will say, "Hey, I have a lineup, but I've already got one female rapper on there." So, but meanwhile, there's a bunch of male artists on the bill.
Yeah.
So I know here in Canada, we've been working on festivals having to have certain percentage of female artists on their lineup, and it's been something that I just can't wrap my head around because if somebody's a dope artist,
Mhm.
what what's the problem, and we have so many dope rappers who are female in our city, in our country, which is why I made the playlist, and even in making that playlist I gained some new faves,
Mhm.
and I cannot for the life of me understand why there's this idea that there can only be one and only one can rise to the level of success that our American counterparts deem successful. But the other thing that I learned in this, in making this list and in sharing this list and in speaking with my fellow female artists, is that success is defined differently for all of us.
Yeah.
Some of us want the award shows, we want the billboards, we want the tours, the worldwide tours, we want the opening spots for the big guns. But some of us just want to be able to eat off our music. So some of us being thrown into these conversations about who's the greatest and who's got the most this and who's shown on the most this, it's irrelevant to some of us. Some of
Yeah.
us are mothers, some of us are, family members first, some of us are entrepreneurs, some of us are managers, go-getters, business venturists. Like we're not monoliths, right? We don't
Mhm.
exist in a silo or in a uniform. We have so many different titles and labels, and we are out here just trying to be the best at what we do, succeed on our own terms,
Yep.
succeed with our own definition of success. And then here comes some disgruntled men with receding hairline wanting to talk about what they think success is and why they feel our careers not coming off the ground or what they deem to be off the ground. I think it's wild. I just don't understand it. Like they don't do it for any other person. They don't do it for the men's. They don't do it for any other genre. The pop girlies can link up and everyone's like, "Oh, the pop girlies are linking up. It's so cute."
Yeah.
You know, let the hip hop girlies link up and all of a sudden it's, "Oh, I heard so and so's beefing with this person." Hence my track politics. Like I really
Mhm.
don't understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm here to say I'm for all the hip hop girlies. I want to see them all win. I know we can all win in our own right, whatever that means, whatever winning means to us. We are the ones who will define it. And in the end, we are the ones who can say what our success really and truly is. So just keep doing it. You're out of Montreal. I know that there's some dope Montreal artists out there. I think Chun Li is her name. She's one
Yeah.
of my faves. So I'm paying attention across the country because we're just too dope to be put in a box and say, all right, ladies, one at a time. Like, it's just so dumb to me. But the Canadian infrastructure for music, especially hip hop, is also a whole other thing.
Mhm.
Um, and unfortunately, shout outs to the ones who make it out, who get to be on international platforms and things like that. But I feel like that is also something that needs revamping. I think the people who are defining what hip hop should be need to be replaced, because there's so much diversity in our hip hop community that we can't just continue to push out rubber stamped hip hop artists. We really got to show what Canada and what Toronto and what Montreal have to offer, because it's dope. It is dope.
Yeah. No, I'm often shocked when I go to different shows and I see like different artists, and I'm just like, bro, like why haven't I heard about you? Why haven't I seen you? Like it's it's truly amazing. Like there's so many talented people that we have in this country, and I'm slowly learning different things that are happening within the music business within Canada, but it's still mind-boggling that there's so many people that just don't get certain opportunities.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. And that's another question that I was going to ask you that I often ask a lot of artists that come on my podcast is like, what's something that you would like to see for artists? It could be emerging artists, it could be established artists within Canada. Like, what do you think is missing, or what do we need?
I think we need more people with passion and less people with money.
Mm,
I think all the people with money are making decisions about passion, and all the people with passion ain't got no money. So we need people who really want to see this city win, who want to see this country win, who want to see the artists who deserve to be where they deserve to be end up where they deserve to be. And unfortunately, a lot of moves that are made are business decisions. And what do we artists care about business? Of course, we care about our having our business in order so that we can get our paper. But at the end of the day, we're getting our paper for our art, our music, our performance. Some of the best performances I've seen are from artists that no one knows,
yep.
but their show is on point. They bring people out. They're doing the damn thing. They're just not being platformed because it's not a great, smart business decision. So all the people with money move to the back. All the people with passion move to the front. And when the people in the passion need some money, they can look back, and that's when the people with the money can step in and make decisions, or help fund
No,
decisions.
not make decisions because they're gonna mess it up.
That's right. And I think that's really it. Like we have way too many people making decisions who don't understand art.
Yep.
You look at the people who are making money off the music industry, it's not the artists. This is mind boggling to me. 1,000 streams of an
Mm,
album counts as one sale. In what world does that make any sense? And it's just so hard for the people who are making the art to make a living, to just survive, to make it to the next, you know?
yep.
And it shouldn't be that way. It really should not be that way. So I really want the people who want to see art thrive and survive, because we're seeing it die around us. We're seeing the venues close. We're seeing the rehearsal spaces closing. We're seeing the art galleries closing. We're seeing the funding for this art being slashed. We're seeing art being killed before our very eyes. If we don't act now, you think the artists are suffering now? Well, baby, it's gonna get worse.
Yep.
So I think that really and truly, if you care about arts, if you're passionate about arts, support your local artists. Please buy their albums, even if you have to transfer them money. Like, don't wait for a system that wasn't designed to see artists win to help artists win. It's not gonna happen. It has to be us, and it has to be now. So that's basically my message. That's my SOS to the artist appreciation community. You know, we are stronger together. There's
Mhm.
more of us than them. And at the end of the day, if the money's not going to where it needs to be, then the money doesn't matter. If the
Yep.
artists aren't eating off of the art, then what are we doing? You know?
No, that's real. It's so important. again, to have a conversation like this as well. And again, a lot of people don't really involve the artists in these conversations. It's a lot of like corporate people that are in these conversations that are making these decisions. So I think it's really important what you said, to kind of switch the dynamic, the people that are passionate, the artists, to bring them to the forefront to make those decisions to help with the industry within Canada grow and grow properly, so
Mhm.
that artists are able to make their art and live doing what they love. So I think it's just so important. There's just so much work to do. And I love that you said like how we as, music fans also can support our artists. It's not always streaming the music, because like you said, that doesn't really bring in any money, but if there is a way to like, e-transfer for maybe the album, or if the artist has merch,
Yes.
to purchase the merch. So that's something I do a lot, is I always try and purchase merch when I go see them perform. So I think that is very helpful. Another question that I did have is that you had mentioned that after this album, you are taking more of a community approach, kind of switching lanes a little bit. You're not leaving us with no music. um, so, yeah. Oh,
No, no. I mean, please continue, and then I'll address it. Go
no.
ahead.
Okay, no, I just wanted to know, like, what will you be doing? If you could just elaborate a little bit on what you will be doing after all said and done with this album.
She said, "No more music." Oh man, I just want to make sure that before I go from this earth, that I have done everything I can to help people. And um I think that music is a great tool. It's a great innovator. It's a great way to um, bring collective healing. We have songs like Heal the World for a reason. And I think that there are just so many amazing artists out there that are doing what I had set out to do through music. So I just kind of want to pivot from music in the sense of using it to heal the world and help the world into something that's a little more direct and a little more hands-on. I see a lot of organizations that have been struggling lately um, to help the people that they're helping, because
Mhm.
unfortunately there's so much hatred and destruction in the world right now. We're experiencing crisis level humanitarian crises, plural. We're experiencing climate change at such a rate that is, we're approaching the point of no return. And it's just, instead of being holed up in my room crying and rocking back and forth about the future of our world, um, I would love to do something about it. And whether that's helping an organization that's already on the ground in another country, or whether it's helping to bring awareness and funding to an organization here at home. um, it's sad to say, but there's such an array of ways in which you can help. Here at home, we got 1 in 5 people in Toronto using a food bank, and that's heartbreaking to me, because when you think about it, there's families of 6, 7 people. So how many people within that family are having to use the food bank to make ends meet?
Yep.
And that's something that is not lost on me, because while I might be able to make money from music and art, the people that are supporting me, knowing that they could be experiencing their own crises, knowing that they might have to be working 4 or 5 jobs just to make rent this month, it just doesn't sit right with me.
Hmm.
So I want to do something about all the things. um, what that means yet, I don't know, because again, there's so many ways in which I could help, so many ways in which I could feel like, yeah, I made a difference. um, And it's not to say that music doesn't do that for me. It's just to say that I wish to challenge myself in ways that are non artistic
Hmm.
and really and truly make direct impact in my community and the communities around me. So that's a wide way of saying, like, don't know just yet, but
Yeah.
definitely want to be more involved, more hands-on.
No, I think that's important. I hope it inspires other people to get involved. Again, it doesn't have to be like traveling to a different country. There's so much work to be done within your city, your community. So I hope people see the changes that you're making and they kind of, follow or they're inspired to, do something as well, even if it's just volunteering from time to time somewhere, could be so helpful. So yeah, I think that's beautiful that that's what you're gonna challenge yourself to do. So yeah, we will miss the music if there is no more music, but we will be like, cheering you on while you whatever it is that you do decide to do, because I know it's gonna be great and it's gonna be really, really helpful. So I think it's super dope what you're doing. So
I
can't
appreciate you.
wait to
Thank
see.
you.
No, of course. I can't wait to see like what it is that you do decide to do, because you've already done stuff like through your music and through different things. So it's gonna be good to see the next stage of Phoenix. So that's dope. Now, before I let you go, I want to play a small game. We're going to just make a soundtrack. So this is your soundtrack. I'm going to ask you about a couple of moods, and you're going to give me the R&B song that you would pick for this.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
So let's start it off. So give me a song that always puts you in a good mood.
Oh man. Sounds of Blackness, Optimistic. As long as you keep your head to the sky. That's my jam. You can't be mad when that song comes on.
Never. I don't know. Like that song is just pure magic.
Absolutely.
I don't know what Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did in that studio, but like it's insane that
Absolutely.
the frequency just goes up. Like it's crazy.
Yep.
Okay. What's a song that motivates you?
Motivation song. Champions by Ace Hood featuring Jasmine Sullivan. That's a
Ooh.
big one. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. What's a song you would listen to on a rainy day?
On a rainy day, on a rainy day, I'd probably listen to Secret Life of Plants by Stevie Wonder.
Okay, yeah.
hmm
Yeah. Another classic.
hmm
What's a song you would play to turn up to?
Oh, Belle Biv DeVoe, Poison. That list is very long, but that's probably the one. Like you
The
put
one?
that on, it's a
Okay,
party.
yeah.
Yeah,
Of
immediately.
course, of course. Everybody's gonna start dancing.
It's involuntary at that point.
Pretty much. What's a song you would play when in love?
Ooh. Keisha Cole Love is like right there, low hanging fruit. I know, but that song. There's also oh man. Okay, I can't say two Keisha Cole songs in a row.
Yeah.
Fantasia, When I See You.
Okay, yes.
Because if you're not singing that at like full volume, you're always on my mind. What else? SWV, So Into You. That's a cute little love song.
Yeah, that is a good one. No, I like all those options are really good because those are all songs that you're singing while I'm singing off key out loud.
Listen, you're not singing off key. You're just singing in a different key. You're just on the next level. That's all it is.
I don't know what key it is, but I guess it's there. I don't know. What's a song you would play when going through a breakup?
Ooh, Jagged Edge, Walked Out of Heaven.
I
Mm.
love Jagged Edge. Yeah,
Yeah, Jagged Edge has
definitely.
a whole breakup like album. There's that one, Good Luck Charm. There's don't get me started. But
Yeah.
yes, Jagged Edge, Walked Out of Heaven.
Um, well, you kind of said this one with Poison, but what's a song that you can't help but dance to?
Um, what's that other one? Johnny Gill. What is the song? When I stroll
Oh, Rub You the Right Way.
Love you the right way now. Like if you put New Jack on, it's a whole vibe. Like
Yeah.
that whole era of music. Like that. Ah, yes. That
And
would
the
be
dance moves in that video are insane.
listen, people used to say I couldn't dance, and I was like, no, no, baby, I can dance just in a different era. So that's my whole, I can do the moves from then. I'm not worried about today's moves. more
Oh
fun
yeah.
than today's moves.
Oh yeah. No, I feel you. Um, what's a song that you think has the best lyrics?
Ooh. Okay, so I'm gonna just let you know right now, Stevie Wonder is the greatest songwriter of all time. This guy
I
is
agree.
blind and has songs called Golden Lady, Girl Blue, like he Lady in Red, like he's writing. Um, but he has a song called Village Ghetto Land,
Mhm.
and it's it's so vivid, and he really does take you on the journey like I talked about with songwriting, and
Yep.
that was one of the first songs that I ever printed the lyrics to
Oh
read
wow.
out as a poem. So that song and the Songs in the Key of Life album, that album stuck with me, but specifically Village Ghetto Land, an amazing lyrical song. Yeah.
No, definitely. And I gotta agree with you there. Stevie is like the number one songwriter. Like it's just his
Mhm.
work, his body of work is just insane.
Insane.
Makes
Absolutely.
no sense. Um, what's a song more people should know about?
Ooh. There's a song I cannot remember the artist, but it's by an indigenous artist from Brazil,
Okay.
and it's called Maracana Day, and it just basically translates to like grand party,
Okay.
but it is just like such an uplifting because I love percussion from other countries. You know, here in the Western culture, we're like 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the Persian like 5, 6 clap in, and you got like the Brazilian on the like the just off the on beat, like in between the beats percussion. So this song is it's like very percussive, and it makes me feel like I'm in carnival or like walking with a
Okay.
samba squad. So that's definitely a song I think more people should listen to. Songs that are not always in their native language, should listen to music that is not always of their favorite genre.
Mhm.
Definitely listening to indigenous music because the lyrics are in their native tongue, and the instruments are often fashioned with their own hands, and it just hits different. So the song's called Maraca na Day, and I don't think there's any other version out there, but I'll get
Okay.
the artist and I'll get back to you.
Okay. But yeah, we can also Google it. So definitely we're gonna have to, yeah, we're gonna have to look it up and see. Because that sounds dope. And the last one is what's a song that you would play that reminds you of summer?
Ooh, definitely Summer by Childish Gambino.
Mhm.
Summertime by Will Smith. Um, I'd never dream you'd leave in summer by Stevie Wonder. Um, Everybody Loves the Sunshine by Roy Ayers. Um, yeah, I think that's my summertime playlist right there.
Yeah, no, those are all dope songs, and definitely all those songs, even though they have, like, summer in the title, it does remind you of summertime, whether you're listening to it, like, during, like, the sunset or whatever, those
Yeah,
are definitely, summer songs. So thank you so much. So
thanks.
we got to know your soundtrack, so thank you so much for playing, and just let the people know where they can follow you, and also, your album and everything like that.
Yes, so Dichotomy, the album is out now in all the places, on all the things, wherever you stream music, it is there. It is also available on my Bandcamp for purchase. Support your local artists. As well, you can find me on all social media at It's Me Pagliacci, and I can also be found at itsmepagliacci.com. So thank you so much, Lorena, for having me. I appreciate your time.
No, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to talk to me. I really appreciate it anytime anybody is available to speak with me. So I'm very thankful. And to everybody that's listening or watching, this is the Total R&B podcast. My name is Lorena, and I will be back with a brand new interview.